Good day, I'm Joshua Jude J. Sabandal, and I'm going to discuss Henry system of fingerprint classification. The Henry system of fingerprint classification has 6 parts: the K, the major, the primary, the secondary, subsecondary, and the final classification. So first, we will determine the primary classification. So the primary classification only concerns with the word type of pattern in the fingerprint card. So here we have 14 in the numerator and 22 in the denominator. 14 here is the sum of the finger values of the word type of pattern of even numbered fingers in the fingerprint card plus 1. And 22 here in the denominator is the sum of the finger values of the odd numbered fingers in the fingerprint card plus 1. So for example, here, if this is the fingerprint card and these are the fingerprint pattern, so we will determine the value of these fingerprint patterns. So first we will calculate for the numerator. So numerator is the sum of the even numbered fingers. So the even numbered fingers here is 6, finger number 6, finger number 2, finger number 8, finger number 4, and finger number 10. So finger number 6 here is a word type of pattern. So we will determine the finger value of finger number 6. So here, the digit here written in the upper right of the box is the finger values. So number 6 here is the finger value. Finger number 6 is 4. So we write here 4. Then second, finger number 2 is a ulnar loop, so it doesn't have a value, so this is 0. Finger number 8 is a ulnar loop, is an ulnar loop, so it doesn't have a value. Finger number 4 is a whorl type of pattern. So here the finger value of finger number 4 is 8. So plus 8. Then finger number 10 is a whorl. So finger number 10 here, the finger value is 1. So we added 1. And in determining the primary classification, you will always add 1. So the total is 14. Total of the even numbered fingers. So we will write it on the numerator. Then second, we will total the odd numbered fingers. So we will start from 1. So finger 1 is a whorl. So the finger value of finger 1 is 16. So we write here 16. Then finger 7 is an ulnar loop, so doesn't have a value. Then finger number 3 is an ulnar loop, so 0. Finger number 9 is a whorl, and the value of finger number 9 is 1, so we added 1. Then finger number 5 is a whorl, and the value of finger number 5 here is 4. So we added 4 plus 1, a total of 22. So we write it in the denominator. So if the fingerprint pattern in the fingerprint cards are all loops, the primary classification is 1/1. And if all the fingerprint pattern in the fingerprint card is, if it is all a whirl type of pattern, then the primary classification is 32 over 32. So next step is to determine the secondary. So here we have capital U in the numerator and capital U in the denominator. So secondary classification is only concerned with fingers number 2 and number 7, the right and the left index fingers. So secondary consists of capital letters. Capital A if the right or left index finger is a plain arch, and capital T if it is a tented arch, capital R if radial loop, capital U if ulnar loop, and capital W if it is a whirl. So secondary numerator is a pattern of finger number 2 or the right index, and the denominator is the pattern of finger number 7 or the left index. So here in the example, the right index or the finger number 2 is an ulnar loop. So here the numerator is capital U because it is an ulnar loop. In the example, finger number 7 is an ulnar loop. So in the secondary denominator is capital U because it is an ulnar loop. So next is to determine the subsecondary. So subsecondary is consist of capitals I, M, and O. So subsecondary is only concerned with the middle fingers on each hand fingers. The fingers number 2, number 3, number 4, and fingers 7, 8, and 9. So the numerator with fingers 2, 3, and 4, that is the numerator. And the denominator is the fingers 7, 8, and 9. So if the fingerprint pattern is a whirl, so simply bring up the tracing, ridge tracing. Then if it is a loop, then refer to the cheat sheet by counting the ridge count. So if a plain or tented arch appear in the number 2 or number 7 finger, a dash is used in the appropriate space for the subsecondary. So a small letter to the right of the index fingers eliminate the subsecondary. So if there is a small letter here in the right of the index, either of the index fingers, then there will be no subsecondary. But instead, however, you will write the location of the small letters as part of the secondary. So here in the example, finger number 2 has a ridge count of 19. So in the cheat sheet, finger number 2 has a ridge count of 19. So finger number 2, if it is 10 and up or 10 and over, it is O. So put O here, or outer, capital O. So finger number 3, the ridge count is 15. So here 11 and over is capital O. So we put capital O here. Then finger number 4 is a whirl. So the ridge tracing. So the ridge trace is it has an inner tracing. So we put I here. Simply bring up the tracing. Then finger number 7 is an ulnar loop. So with 21 ridge count. So here, finger number 7, 10 and over is capital O. So put capital O here. Then finger number 8 is an ulnar loop with 20 ridge count. So middle finger, 20, 11 and over is capital O. So we put capital O here. Then finger number 9 is a whorl with a meeting. So simply bring up the tracing. It's a meeting. Next is to determine the major. So major are thumbs, fingers number 1 and number 6. So major is only concerned with loops and whorls and can only be a capital S, M, L, or capital I, M, and O. So if either of the two thumbs is a small letter A for plain arch, small letter T for tented arch, small letter R for radial loop, in either or both thumbs, then there is no major. So here in the example, finger number 1 and finger number 6 is a whorl. So simply bring up the tracing. So here in finger number 1 it is capital O. So put capital O. In finger number 6 it is capital I. Then simply bring up capital I. If the finger number 1 is an ulnar loop with a ridge count of 16, then refer to the cheat sheet. So finger number 1, 16 ridge count, so it is medium. So we will put capital M here in the numerator. Then if finger number 6 is an ulnar loop with 10 ridge count, then 10 is capital S. So you will put here capital S in the denominator. And that's how you determine the major. Next step is to determine the key. So key is the ridge count of the first loop except the pinkies or the little fingers, finger number 5 and finger number 10. So here in the example, the first loop is located in the finger number 2 or the right index finger. So the ridge count is 19. So the key is 19. If the first loop is located in the pinky finger, finger number 5 or finger number 10, then there is no key. Next, the final step is to determine the final classification. So the final is the ridge count of the right little finger if it is a loop. The right little finger if it is a loop. So if the right little finger is not a loop, it is the ridge count of the left little finger if it is a loop. If neither little finger is a loop, then there is no final. So here in the example, there is no neither of the little finger is not a loop, then there is no final. If the little finger here is a loop, then the ridge count will be the final, and it is written in the numerator in line with the numerator. If it is a whorl and the left little finger is loop, then the ridge count of the left little finger will be the final, and it will be written here in the denominator. And that's all.